What's going on, everybody? My name is Derailious. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going over the lifesteal and siphon changes that are planned to be coming with Hypixel Skyblock's balance update. And on top of that, there are some planned changes to the way Catacombs XP is earned that I think will make a lot of people extremely happy. But before we get into that, I want to say thank you guys for all the support as we've hit 16.8k. Please make sure to like and subscribe down below, as only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. So without any further ado, let's get right into the video. Currently, the way that lifesteal and siphon work in Hypixel Skyblock is that it takes your damage value and allows you to heal partially from it. The only difference being that lifesteal heals on all damage, and siphon heals only on critical hits. It takes a percentage of the damage you do. Notably for Siphon 4, it's 0.5, for Siphon 5, it's 0.6, so on and so forth, and it allows you to heal that percentage of your damage dealt on critical hits. This is particularly good in dungeons because obviously you get to the point where you're doing millions of damage, meaning that you'll gain tens of thousands of health based on every single critical hit you do. I will be the first to admit, this is a lot of healing. It's a little bit too much even, and I would make the argument that a lot of these values should be tuned down. But the way that they have decided to move forward when it comes to how Siphon and Lifesteal will work, I feel like it's a bit too big of a nerf. Let's go talk about the patch notes. So starting off with the Lifesteal changes, as you can see on screen now, we have the changelog. And it says that Lifesteal will now heal 0.5% of your maximum health per hit per level. Which basically means that with Lifesteal 5, you will be healing 2.5% of your maximum health every time you hit a mob. That's it. There's no benefit. There's nothing beyond that. It doesn't really stack with anything. Rejuvenate doesn't work with it because it's natural healing and Lifesteal isn't natural healing. We're going from basically healing from nothing to full health to 2.5% per hit and good luck not dying. And that's it. Things only improve very slightly when you bring Siphon into the mix, which by a mile will be the better overall option when compared to Lifesteal. Siphon will now allow you to heal 0.2% of your maximum health per hit per 100 critical damage, and an additional 0.1% per tier. So if you have Siphon 3, 500 critical damage, you'll heal 0.4% per 100, so 2% of your maximum health per hit. If you have Siphon 4, you'll be healing 0.5% per 100, and let's say you do have 1,000 critical damage, as that's the cap, you will be healing 5% per hit on a mob. Honestly, I'm pretty skeptical of these changes, especially regarding their impact on late-game non-dungeons content, like, for instance, the mythological ritual event, and, by extension, higher-level slayers. We've gotten used to having all this lifesteal, all of this siphon, essentially being able to heal up to full health from basically nothing, and honestly, I think that loss is going to be pretty devastating. There are some things we can do, for instance, something like, vampirism, is an excellent overall thing to have on your weapons. Essentially, if you currently are gaining, 6% of your HP back from Siphon, you'll be gaining close to 12% of it back every time you kill a mob because of the way vampirism works. Essentially, it's a perk that just allows you to gain 6% of your HP back every time you get a kill. Although it is pretty useless on your current weapon, it will actually be really powerful because of the way healing will work in the future. I think it's one of the better items that you can get out of an update like this, and it's pretty cheap, so you don't have to spend too much on it. On top of this, there are other things we can do. For instance, the Mender Fedora is an excellent overall item for dungeons, and I can see healers becoming a more popular overall class, although I'm not too certain about that one. In terms of healing, there's other things you could do as well. For instance, getting Rejuvenate on all your armor, and making sure you have the Zombie Slayer Tier 8 perk, because it gives you a 50% natural regen bonus. I really fear for how this will affect not just Dungeons content, but a lot of non-Dungeons content as well. Things like the Sword of Revelations, and by extension the Ornate Zombie Sword, will probably have a lot more of a use now, and I think that's a great thing, but these nerfs go really far. Things like the Mythological Ritual event will be significantly harder now, and that's just because the mobs are so tanky and you're kind of meant to get hit by them. I don't really know how feasible a lot of this stuff is going to be in the near future. Especially things like Rev Tier 5. That's going to be pretty rough if you can't one-shot the boss. It's just going to further this gap that I've been talking about between the poorest players and the richest players. There's not going to be a middle ground anymore, and that's really rough. I do not want this video to be all doom and gloom though, so I do have some excellent news to report regarding how Catacombs XP is going to be earned in future dungeons. Essentially, how it works now is that for every floor 7 we run, or whatever floor, I'm just using floor 7 as an example, you will be earning the same amount of XP per floor as long as you get the same score. So I'm assuming everyone knows by now, if you run a floor 7, you get 22,000 XP. In the future, it's going to be different. When this balance update comes out, every time you run a floor 7, you will be gaining 2% more XP per floor 7 you run, or whatever floor. There are caps on the first 6 floors, but there doesn't seem to be one for floor 7. Essentially, if you have run 500 floor 7s, you will be gaining 1000% more XP. That sounds like a lot, and that's because it is. Essentially, you will be gaining 200,000 XP every time you run a floor 7 if you have done 500. If you've done 1,000 and gotten yourself a Diamond Necron head, congratulations, you'll be earning 400k XP every time you run one. This will make leveling up your Catacombs levels essentially way easier. You will be able to get Catacombs level 50 possibly within a few weeks after this update drops, especially if you already have a high overall counter, but that's only if it's retroactive, and I don't really know if it is. If it is retroactive, I'll probably make a post about it on my community tab, so please make sure you like and subscribe to keep up with that. Honestly, this is an excellent change, aside from the fact that there are caps for the lower floors, meaning that there's always an incentive to move forward and progress. This basically means that floor 7 has an incentive to be run a lot of times. I don't necessarily think this will do anything to the market, notably like dropping prices or anything like that. I don't really think it'll do anything of that nature. But this is certainly an excellent overall decision, and something that I think will make a lot of people really happy. I hope you guys enjoy this video now that I've given you the good news at the end, and hopefully we all see a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. I really do hope that they continue to improve and make more changes to the way the game works. I think that these lifesteal and siphon changes could be really good if only the base values were buffed a little bit more. But I'm going to leave that up to you guys to decide in the comments down below, and I'm going to see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe if you are new, and yeah, on that note, peace out everybody.